Hi, this is Skoggit, and good morning to everybody. It's a beautiful morning here in Tornado Alley, Texas. A little bit windy. Wind's supposed to get up today around 60, 70 miles per hour, but that's a typical day here. This is a story time with Skoggit. I know I haven't made many videos lately. I apologize for that. Been busy with some other stuff and finally got around to making a few. This story is called Lucky Skoggit Ranch. And back in 1975, I was 18 years old at the time. I bought a 1962 Chevrolet station wagon for $100. Bought it off this old man. And it was in good condition. It ran good. I kept that car for, I've kept it for several years and never gave me any problems. But that's not what this story is about. What this story is about is a Skoggit Ranch. If you're not familiar with the Skoggit Ranch, this is what it looks like. It has a end that comes off, and this is the socket. This is the socket what fits on the other end. I know a lot of you have used this, and I've used it several times. For working on cars, and that's what this story is about. Back in 1975, I was going to change my oil. Back then, you could actually work on cars. So I never took mine in for repair. I did all the work, everything from rebuilding engines to brake work to power steering, you name it, I'd done it. And we'd get these manuals. This is kind of going off subject, but we'd get these manuals. I believe they're called Chilton's. I think Chilton's put them out. But you could get the car what you had, and it would tell you how to disassemble that car and put it back together. I tell you, and just a really informative book to have if you want to work on a car. And it also told you, like, had pictures in it showing you with arrows, and just really a good source for learning to fix cars. Anyway, I was changing my oil, and back then, being 18 years old, I'm not thinking, how many 18-year-olds these days really think, not very many of them. But I was one of them. I wasn't thinking that day, and I pulled out my bumper jack. And if you're not familiar with these bumper jacks, is you had two pieces to them, and one of them was a base. You had a base on the bottom where this jack went in, and you could raise this device up to fit your bumper, and it would fit on your bumper. And then you had a lever what you pushed, and you had one arm banded at a socket for taking off the tire with, and then it had like a kind of a screwdriver looking, but it was like shaped kind of like it come out like this, and then it had a curve to it. Anyway, you put that in this hole for raising and lowering the jack. So you pumped it up like this, and it would go one click at a time. Click, 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 and the car would go up higher, 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 higher. The only thing is, you had this one jack with a base holding the entire weight of the car on it. Now, the smart thing and wise thing to do would be to put jack stands underneath the car, but I didn't have any. Or you can use cinder blocks. I've seen friends of mine use cinder blocks. I didn't have any of those. I thought, well, it's just a short little deal. I'm not going to take me very long to change this oil. And back then on the 62 station wagon, it's not like the oil filters of today, where you just screw them on the side of, you don't even have to jack up the car in most instances, but you screw them on the side, and some of them, like on my HHR, is like a canister what goes inside, and then you undo that. I always take my car to have the oil changed because I'm not messing with it no more, and you can't just dispose of the oil. They used to have containers like around town where you could just go dump the old oil. I haven't seen any of them around my town, so I just take it and have it done. Do it the safe way. And so anyway, it had a nut what went in to like a canister thing come out, and then it had a nut, and with that nut is what you use the socket for to take it off. You undid that nut, and then it would like come out. There was a long, if I recall, there's a long bolt to it, and then it would come out, and then you had a paper filter. You take the canister off, remove that paper filter, put the new paper filter in, put the canister back in, and then you tightened it up, and then you poured, of course, your oil. You let the oil drain. But anyway, I was underneath the car, and I had the socket wrench. I grabbed the socket wrench, which I had them all the sockets on the side there, and I grabbed the wrong one. I can't remember the size. I think it might have been a 9/16 what I needed. I'm not sure on that. Maybe a half. It was one of the two. But anyway, I grabbed the wrong socket by mistake. Got up under there, and here I'm laying underneath the car. It's about like jacked up where I could crawl under there, and I was a lot thinner back then. And I put it up there, and wrong socket wrong socket. This piece here, wrong one. So I reach over, I take that one, just throw it off to the side, and I reach over now and try to grab one of the sockets. Well, they're out of my reach. They're out of my reach about this far. So I'm like trying to wiggle around there to grab one of them, and it's not working. So I said, well, shoot. So I got out from under the car and went and looked and got out from under the car, went and looked to see which one I needed. And at that time, as soon as I got out, I'd say probably 10 seconds later, that car fell. It fell off that jack. And I'm like right there. And I'm like, God. Because if I would have been under there and would have got the right size wrench, Skoggit wouldn't be making this video today. I guarantee that. Because about 3,500 pounds of car would have been crushing me. Crushed my chest. Because I couldn't climb under it because I just, there's no room. You had to jack it up. So that wrench, that little socket wrench saved my life. And when I got out, when it fell, I started shaking. I mean, I shook. I was scared. I was like, oh man, I could have been under. I would have been dead. But somebody up there was looking out for me. Wasn't my time to go yet. And thought I'd share this story. And did I get the oil changed on the car? You bet I did. I went to a friend's house and borrowed his jack stands. Came back, put them under the car to protect me from getting killed, and jacked the car back up and changed the oil. And to this day, I'm eerie about climbing under a car. That's just my I don't know, I have a phobia about it ever since that day. And if it's something to fix like on top where I don't have to jack it up, then that's fine. But if I have to climb under it, I'm just really just terrified about it. And I'm thinking, even though with the jack stands, it's going to fall on me. But I thought I'd share this little story with you. And it just, you know, I was young and wasn't thinking. And it almost cost my life. If you ever work on cars or do anything, be sure you use your head, guys, because it can be fatal. And it just one of those things what I'll keep in my mind the rest of my life. And I did have a good friend of mine, die by having a car fall on him, and that's just he should have took the precaution like I now do. But anyway, this is Storytime with Skoggit. Appreciate all you viewers and subscribers out there. My coffee's getting cold. And hope you enjoyed the story. Apologize for not having videos, but like I say, I've been kind of busy and just haven't had time to make any. But once again, I appreciate all you viewers and subscribers out there, and y'all take care.